M&A Advisor is very pleased now to welcome Steve Klemencic, who's Director in Forensic Services at PwC. Steve, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Give us a little bit of insight about your company and what you do.
Sure. The piece of our company is the advisory side. We obviously have the tax and audit side. Ours is the advisory side, and specifically the part that we work in provides due diligence and strategic management to companies, clients, whoever they may be, to help them do things like market entry, to do deals with other people, other companies, to help them figure out what risks they may be facing. We also have a compliance part of the practice that deals with helping people who have had violations and need to fix themselves, or are suspected of having violations, and we need to go look at them and help them with their compliance and those types of programs.
Today at the M&A Advisor Summit, you were part of a panel on China in transition. Given that we will be having a new administration led by Donald Trump, what are your thoughts about how this may impact Chinese investors coming into the United States?
I think there's going to be, in the beginning, I don't think there's going to be a large impact. I think there's going to be, we're going to continue business, and we're going to see where this goes. There's an uncertainty about Donald Trump, both outside the United States as well as within, and I think people are going to wait to see what he's going to do before they start to change what they're going to do. There is a concern, obviously, some of the things he said have alluded to that China is not necessarily a fair player in the international markets. He may take actions to restrict some of those, or make things more difficult for China to do business in the United States. I think we have to kind of take a wait-and-see approach to this.
Well, of course, the investments from China coming into the U.S. have been so robust, and so right now we don't really know what's going to be happening with that. But how about globally?
I think it goes back to the discussion of, we've had several world-shaping events in the past couple of months between Brexit and the election of Donald Trump. I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen. I think there will be a lot of opportunity in there for people. It's not all going to be bad, like there is some fear that there is. I don't agree with that. I think there is opportunity to be had, and people just stop and take a deep breath and look at it. There will be a way to take advantage of these things. Let's
talk a little bit about the what's going on in China as far as the technology, the manufacturing of technology. I spoke earlier to someone from LAECO about the streaming technology going into California right now and into the smartphones. It just seems like China is such a major player now in technology.
They absolutely are, and that's been a major goal of theirs for the past 10, 20 years, and it's actually kind of codified in the 13 five-year plans right now, is they want the technology, they want to go get it, they want to advance and improve. They want to be seen as a peer to the United States, not as simply somebody who's trying to get to that level. Their acquisitions of technology all point back toward helping them achieve their strategic goals, which are all pretty well defined for anybody who wants to go look. Where that runs into a problem in the United States is that some of the technology that they want to acquire has national security connections to it. And that's where a lot of the emotion and the argument comes in, and you pull in things like CFIUS and discussions like that. That gets to be a hard spot, because they want the technology, they want to buy it, they're willing to pay a good price for it, but because of this connection to national security, there's a hesitancy on the part of the U.S. government to clear some of these transactions.
Where are the opportunities from investors outside of Asia going into China?
Going into China? I would say I would like to see what's going to happen with the One Road program, because China's trying to expand at a significant rate. They're using money, a lot of the money seems to be being used in a soft power kind of way, which is going to invite people to join them. And I think there will be some profit to be made by partnering with some of the Chinese firms, as long as it's forwarding their goals. I don't think it's going to be just, here, come buy me. It'll be with a purpose.
When you look forward to 2017, do you see the trend continuing, the urbanization, where workers from the rural areas going into the urban areas, and also these businesses that are opening up, one after the other?
The question will be, how sustainable is it? I think the Chinese are trying to control the population movement, because the cities have grown so fast, and they have a lot of workers. that don't necessarily have full employment. So there is a question of the movement of the population and how do they control that. And I think the cities and the businesses, cities growing, I mean, you fly over the cities and they're massive, they're vast, they're huge. And the number of businesses that are created, well, how sustainable is that? Because I think there's a concern that the banks in China may be over-leveraged. And if that's the case, then they're setting themselves up for a fall. I'm not a banking expert, but that's my general sense, is that I think that's a concern that people need to address and be aware of.
Steve, great insight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Terrific to have you.